Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to day one of Buyer Agent Bootcamp. This is going to stretch out for the next many weeks. So today, what we're going to look at is sourcing buyers. We've got a lot to cover with buyer's agent success and activity, but we're going to talk about where to source buyers from. So, what do you think the most common place you're going to source buyers from in the marketplace right now? Open house is not it.
Friends and family.
Sphere of influence. Yep, sphere of influence. Now, guys, if you're going to take notes on this, I would really take notes on the sphere of influence. That circle's too small. What am I thinking? You can't even see it back there. Hold on. Okay. Sphere of influence. What makes up our sphere of influence? A lot of people have confusion on this, and I want to give you an example of why. If I met a lead from Facebook lead, and I got them in a database, I'm drip campaigning them, is that my sphere of influence? Why not? Why isn't it?
Would you recognize them if you walked past them? Would you know them?
Sphere of influence. Do I have any influence with those people? Do they have any influence with me or for me? The answer is no. Okay, a sphere of influence, by definition, means there is some influence there. So let's talk about who that is. What makes up your sphere of influence? For those that have been in the business, we have what? Past clients. Past clients. We all have what? Friends and what?
Family.
Friends and family. The worst people to work with ever. I'm not lying. Okay, we all have friends and family. What else do we have? We have old acquaintances. Now think about this. People you worked with in your past career. People you went to high school with. People that you worked out at a gym with. People that you worked out or that you had some activity with that you used to do. Or still do. So, friends and family might be your close friends, but there's still these acquaintances out there. And here's one of the more underutilized members of your sphere of influence, your professional network. Why would I say it's underutilized?
Because it's so hard for agents to get in a B&I group because they're all the spots are taken.
But the question is, do you need B&I to do it?
Yeah.
You don't. The reason I say it's underutilized is this. Somebody that's a CPA, a financial planner, a banker, you name the business, what do they rely on for their business? Same thing you're doing. They understand it. So yes, there's an actual relationship going on, but we also understand how can I help you grow and how can you help me grow? How can we collaborate together? That is the easiest sphere of influence member you have and probably the most referral capital. What do I mean by referral capital? If Bruce over here, salt of the earth guy, working on a construction crew his whole life, works with 5 other guys, comes home, raises 2 kids at night, never leaves the house unless he's going to work or driving the kids to a soccer game, his world is this big. Whereas we'll call it Eric over here, a high-level CPA, 700 people in his database, networks constantly, business meetings constantly. All he does is connect people. Who's got more referral capital? Who has more referral loot, money, capital? Who has more to give in that? Eric or Bruce?
Eric.
Your professional network has much higher referral capital than a lot of your friends and family do. All right. That sphere of influence. We're going to go into messaging on a lot of this as we go, but right now we're just talking about sourcing. And what I mean by messaging, are you talking to your grandmother maybe differently than somebody that's in your professional network? I'm hoping so, right? So there's different messaging you'll have for different members of your sphere. Now, with sphere of influence, would you call that relational sales or sales? Relational. It is a relational. Based on your own dispersonality scoring, based on your own authentic style, how many people in the room feel really comfortable door knocking, cold calling, like real sales? How many people are super comfortable with that? You are? Okay. How many people are more comfortable with relational sales? How many can do either?
I'm more for relational. I can do both. But
Okay, you can fall on both sides. But most of us are relational, right? So the sphere of influence is where most of us lie. By the way, with the sphere of influence, what does that account for in terms of transactions nationally? What percentage?
60?
Right around 60% of all transactions come from a sphere of influence. Now, this is going to be usually your high I. It's going to be more your high I and even some of your S. Now, part of your sphere of influence, too, when I talk about acquaintances and friends, you can break this down. I want to keep this very, very apparent throughout this day today. In your sphere of influence, you have your tribes. Now, your tribes tend to be for the people that are more introverted. Okay, someone that's not really going to be good at self-promotion, talking about themselves in business. Your tribes are the people that are most like you. I've got several tribes. I ride a Harley on the weekends, and I tell you what, I know 100 other people that do. I go to a gym 5 days a week. I know a lot of people that work out. They're people that do the same thing and are most like me. Much easier when you're introverted to talk with those people because you're on the same page. Church groups, book clubs, you name it. Whatever your interests are, you have a tribe there. And the messaging's a little different for them too. And it's easier for introverts because you have something common to talk about. It's not like walking up, like Tam Lee in here is one of the best, highest highs we have in the office. He can walk into a group of people he doesn't know, nothing in common with, and he comes out with raving fans every time. Some people can't do that. They need to have something in common to be able to find common ground with. That's what your tribes are for. Okay. Lead gen. Buyer's agent lead gen. Anybody know the value of Zillow right now?
It's expensive, but it's good.
Anybody know, I mean, like the value, what the company's valued at? It's in the billions. How is a company worth billions of dollars when they don't sell real estate? What do they sell?
Leads.
They sell leads. They don't charge consumers to look at properties. You don't have to pay a fee to go on Zillow and look for houses. They make their money from you guys. People are paying big money for leads. Lead gen is an absolute ridiculous moneymaker for the lead gen providers, but also for the people. Do you think people would be paying lead gen fees at 40, 50, 60, 100 bucks a leads and there's no ROI? Nobody would. Lead gen is an absolute classic way that people can get buyer opportunity. And there's two types of leads we talk about in lead conversion all the time. There's specific property portal leads, Zillow, Realtor.com, Truly, where they're in a portal and they're saying, I want information on this property. Most of lead gen now is your Sync, Facebook, Ylopo, Chime, you name all these other places that are landing page that are driven by SEO and targeted ads that get people to interact with properties, non-specifically. Okay, those are lead gen tools as well. Lower conversion rates, less expensive for the lead too. You might pay 5 or 10 bucks per lead, not 40. But you can get more of them and probably more nurturing and more fall through. So lead gen is a huge way. Anybody investing in lead gen right now? Good, good to hear it, okay? Now lead gen will account for, I don't know, 7, 8% of all the transactions that happen throughout the country this year. It's not nearly as big as what they report. NAR report true numbers. Zillow will make it sound like everybody's on lead gen and that's where they get the business from. So, someone just said it. Open houses. How many people are doing 40 or more open houses per year?
Close. Yeah. Nobody in this room.
We have one. Yeah.
Close.
If you are not doing 40 plus open houses a year, you are leaving so much money on the table. You don't, I can't even tell you. There is a lot of money you're leaving on the table. Now, doing an open house by setting up a sign in the front yard and 4 or 5 other subsequent signs and putting an ad in the MLS is not how you want to run your open houses because your traffic will be between 5 and 10 people at an open on average. We don't want 5 to 10 people at an open. We want 25 to 100. So how many people saw the massive open house video? Who didn't? If you haven't watched it, you absolutely need to watch that video. Massive open house, Michael Hellickson, it's right on YouTube. It's 53 minutes of your life that will change your life forever if you do open houses. That is a
Anytime Michael talks changes your life.
yeah. He's that guy, isn't he? Yep.
He's amazing.
Yep. So one of these days I'll have him do a call in for us. Yeah, he's good.
What's
Okay, open houses. If you're not doing them, you are missing the boat. What else we got? Buyers. Where are we getting buyers from? What's that? Anyone? I mean, come on, we got to get more than just Spirit of Influence, lead gen, open houses. Where else are buyers coming from?
Facebook.
That's lead. That's in a way that, well, actually, it's a way. I'm going to put social media as a separate thing. Because even though a lot of times it is your sphere of influence you're talking to, social media is its own animal.
I don't know, I put 10 business cards in my pocket and I don't want one back when I'm home after a whole day. So I'm out there just meeting people and saying hi. And
So what that is, what you're talking about is outbound efforts, or OSA, outside sales agent. What that means is you are sourcing business that is not just inside of your own sphere. You are going out of that to do something to source business. And let's talk about that. Where can you do that? Anybody running any campaigns for renters?
Yes.
Tiffany Greener's doing an excellent job of that right now too. Okay, Home Partners of America, for example, she's partnered with them and she's doing a campaign and she's getting buyers from it. Okay, so we'll talk about tools on this, but the answer is outbound sales. To go outside, 5 handwritten notes a day, 10 business cards that you're dropping off per day. How about education? Partnering with MFHA or another organization that does education, seminars, things of that nature. We see buyers come out of there all the time.
What about farming? Is that considered a?
So we're talking geofarming, right? Geofarming is more of a listing agent activity, but you can do it. You can do it for buyers. You can, especially if you're farming rental areas.
Mike, can I ask you a question on your handwritten notes? Can you go a little bit further into what that looks like?
Yep. Geofarming and circle prospecting are two ways, Colleen, that you can do buyers. We're going to talk about those in depth. Okay, so Marshall Saunders. Everybody know who Marshall is? Anybody not know who Marshall is?
Don't know much.
Oh, you guys are killing me.
I know the name. That's
Marshall.
I'm writing his name down now. I don't want to kill you.
Marshall Saunders inherited or bought Remax Results back before it was big. He's the one that really grew Results into the largest Remax franchise in the world. He sold off to John Colopy a while back, and now John owns it, but Marshall was the guy that grew the largest branch, or the largest franchise of Remax, anywhere. And Marshall co-authored the book with Nick Dreher, M3, MQ, Methods, Mindset, Methods, and Metrics. In that book, Marshall illustrates that one of his KPIs, the thing that he did every single day, come hell or high water, whether he wanted to or not, it had to be habitual, was that he gave up 5 handwritten notes. Now think about tearing through your sphere of influence. How fast can you tear through your sphere of influence with 5 handwritten notes a day? That's not going to last that long. You're going to rip through your sphere pretty quick. So what Marshall had ended up doing is finding reasons or excuses to give handwritten notes to others. He'd go get a car wash and he'd give a handwritten note to the person that washed the car. He'd go to get his hair cut and that person would get a handwritten note. He had to find people and reasons to give notes, and guess what? It came back in spades. It came back with a lot of positive results. He sold a lot of houses because of it. Now, anybody familiar with the pyramid of communication? Remember, there's 2 types of communication out there. There is informational or advertising, which a lot of times is informational, and there's influential. So when you start breaking the modes of communication, advertising, emails, promotions, a lot of that is informational. As soon as you break past that communication level and start going to text messaging, handwritten notes, phone calls face-to-face, that's influential. So the handwritten notes, the best practice to do them, an actual blue pen, written at like a 45-degree angle, and signed. Do that, and that's your perfect handwritten note. And give yourself a KPI, and this is something we're going to talk a lot about in the Buyer's Agent Bootcamp, is actual accountability measures to make sure you guys are doing what you're supposed to do. I can give you every trick and tool and tactic to sell houses, to prospect, to make money, but until you put your feet to the fire and hold yourself accountable, you'll never do it. So, carving out time every day. I'm going to write 5 handwritten notes. I'm going to call this many people in my sphere. I'm going to go ahead and send a Facebook budget for advertising for renters for $100 a day, and I'm going to repeat that once a week. I mean, those are things you have to start putting into play, your systems, your foundation, or you'll never get this off the ground, ever.
I saw a great quote that I put at my desk at home. It's the systems, not your goals.
Yeah, and it's true.
So to break into the systems and you start, reconnecting with past clients after 5 or 6 months, what do you put in the note? Just say, hey, hope you're doing good, family, friends.
I like the shame on me approach. Oh, shame on me. It's been 5 months since I've talked to you. My bad. I hate that I dropped the ball. I really want to make sure that you're doing okay. What's new in your life? And you're searching for connectivity. Who's going to engage? Some won't, some will, some won't. The worst feeling in the world is when you run into someone from your sphere and you hear, oh yeah, my brother just bought a house. And you go, damn it, why didn't I follow up with you?
Do you ever put your card in the note?
Nope. Nope. Non-branded, personal, relational, not business. That's what you want to do. Okay. Another source, advertise. Advertise. Everything from classifieds to bus benches to billboards is another place, another source you can find business. Now, your sphere of influence, very relational. Open houses, doesn't always have to be relational. I think people do better when they are relational because they can build rapport pretty quick. Lead gen, doesn't have to be relational. I think you do better when you build rapport though. Advertising, does not have to be relational. Social media, definitely relational. Because to do social media correctly, we're going to get into best practices, but you're going to have to be relational. Okay, so OSA and outbound sales doesn't have to be relational. You have to have a really good elevator speech, perhaps a good USP, and something compelling to keep them on the phone. Education, probably a little bit nurturing. Now keep in mind with a buyer's agent, the main difference between buyer's agents and listing agents is buyer's agents by nature are much more nurturing. Listing agents by nature are much more business, marketing, strategy, and that's why they have all the pretty looking flyers. That's how they think. They think in terms of metrics. Now I'm talking true listing agents. Listing 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 homes a month. Listing agents. Not somebody that does, 40 deals a year that are, 20 buyers, 20 sellers. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking true systematic listing agents. Geofarming, non-relational. Circle prospecting, non-relational. So if you're trying to figure out which style best fits you, that's kind of how it goes. But I want to talk about best practices. Over the course of time here with Buyer's Agent Bootcamp, we're going to explore one of these pretty much every single week. And we're going to start with sphere of influence, the biggest piece of the pie. How do I got here? Okay. Sphere of influence. Let's talk about the messaging. Let's talk about the KPIs, the accountability. If you were to cut your day in half, you're going to need to work on your business for half the day and in your business for the other half. The dilemma we have as a buyer's agent, we get the phone call at 9 in the morning and what do we hear? Can I see a house today? Can I see it in an hour? Does that take you out of your element right there? Okay? Who's controlling your schedule at that point? And who in this room hasn't dropped what they've done and ran to do it? We all have, right? Here's the problem. Here's the problem with this. Most agents in this industry are reactive. We don't prospect. We don't have systems. We wait until someone triggers an action from us. Ooh, you want to see a house? Great, I'm going to go and show that to you. We react. Proactivity and controlling our schedule is our weakest skill set in the industry as a whole. When a buyer calls you and says, I really want to see a house at 10, The response has to be, I have an appointment at 10. I can show it to you at 1, I can show it to you at 4, which is going to work for you. But I'm working, that's fine. I'll run through the house, I will literally send you a video of it. I'll do what I can, but I have an appointment here, we got to do 1. Okay, you have to control your schedule. And you have to have this conversation with your buyer. Mr. Buyer, please never ever put me in a position to fail. Do not call me and say I want to see a house in an hour. If you do so, you're putting me in a position that I have to disappoint you, and I don't want to do that. The best thing you can do is look at your properties by X time the day before, and I'll hold times every single day for you. But make sure I have the properties in front of me we're going to see by this time the day before. Set the rules. Control your schedule. That's what we call our perfect daily schedule, our PDS, controlling our time. Which means we got to spend half the day working on our business. What does it mean to work on our business? Give me
Your systems.
systems, lead generation, prospecting. Prospecting, lead management, post-close follow-up, everything that we lack because all we're doing is running around showing that dang house to those couple buyers. Okay? Working on your business, building systems. How many people have a super great 10-point post-close follow-up system? How awesome would it be if you did? And how many referrals would you get for it?
Question.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we have a sheet that we go through that we have to check off for our team that we do after closing. You mean like that, or?
Like this. Okay, so you have post-close follow-up. How did the move go in? I mean, perhaps what post-close may even starts a day or two before closing. The day they're moving, you send pizza to the house. And then after closing, you do within 48 hours, pop by to see how the move-in go. Everything looking right in the house? Great, perfect. How about a housewarming party that you throw 30 days or 45 days after they move in? How about a
My first one this weekend, my first housewarming party.
Yeah, don't do what I did. We all know that story. Wasn't good.
We don't all know that story.
I don't know.
Well, let's just put it this way. There was Twister involved. I drank all the beer I brought for 30 people, and the Twister got pretty twisted in a hurry. So, yeah, I got no referrals out of that. I really didn't.
Well, you might have, but you didn't.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm bringing a bounce house, so I think I should get some.
Yeah, just make sure when you don't. What I did is 1 beer for you, 1 for me, 1 for you, 1 for me, all night long, and that did not go well. Trust me. So,
They did the food at my bounce house.
okay, here's the thing. With our sphere of influence, I will ask everybody in this room right now, when's the last time you touched your whole sphere? I'm gonna hear, I call people once a month and yada yada. Let me ask you this: how many times do you touch your whole sphere? Do you pick your favorites? Do you ignore certain people? Do you have consistent times? Do you follow up? Do you have consistent messaging? Do you pre-plan this? If you don't, you are missing so much money. Your sphere of influence, by the way, if you have 100 people in it, each one of those people and those 3 people this year will move. That's
How does
3.
an introvert work with that?
I will tell you in 1 sec. So, if 100 people in your database, they each know 300 that'll move, that's 300 transactions, 40% of those will buy and sell. We're talking about over 400 transactions in 100 people of a sphere of influence. Can you unlock that? It's potential you need to unlock. Are you going to get every one of them? No. Can you get 100 of those? Absolutely. If you unlock it. So here's the thing. Mike Amar, the most referred real estate agent in the country's history, was doing 650 plus transactions a year from a 150 person database. Think about that. That's unlocking the potential. He's unlocked all of it, pretty much.
And you typically start out with, again, you kind of go, sorry, it's been 5 months since I called, and, and I'm sorry I dropped the ball, but I was in your neighborhood, I was thinking about you, however you open that up.
Yes.
So your calls are gonna be, again, relational, so would be just your 4, family, occupational,
Yes.
recreation, dream kind of
Yes, but
conversations.
you want that to be part of your messaging, but maybe the next month you want to change it up a little bit, right? Because now you're back, you're searching for a couple things. Number one, as you're working on your business, you're classifying your database. You are classifying your database into A+, A, B, C, and D. Part of your initial call is to find out where people start falling in. The A pluses and the A's are very similar, except for one has referral capital and one doesn't. They both want to help you. They both are advocates of yours, champions of yours. They want to help you. One person has the ability to, one you maybe get one deal a year out of, possible. Okay? So part of what you're doing is you're seeing who's going to engage. I call all these people, shame on me, I dropped the ball, yada, yada, yada. You know what? Hey, it's been great talking to you. Let's get together for coffee. Let's sit down, and I haven't seen you forever. For those that will engage with you, those start becoming quicker on the A column, okay? So the A pluses have a lot of referral capital. The A's really don't. The B's, you got some relational work to do. Now we really don't need to meet for coffee. Thanks for checking in, though. That is going to take a longer-term nurture to get them to an A. With a B, you've got two directions. You don't want to keep B's. You want to graduate them up to A's or down to C's. And C's is pretty much at the level that you're pretty much going to be deleting them soon. That's what D's are. Your C's that you can't move up in a different direction are going to go probably in the delete bucket. You don't need more than 150 people in your sphere of influence. Can you manage 150 relationships? I can't. I don't have that kind of time. Can you be at 15 one-on-one meetings a day every single day? You can't. You have to determine who the best type of people are that you spend 80% of your time. And here's the key: 80% of your time will need to go into your A's and A pluses. The other 20% of the time goes into the B's. The C's, you're just going to drip on. That's where you're going to have almost like lead generation. You're just going to have drip campaigns and newsletters. It's not going to be influential. It's going to be informational until they start raising their hand and getting more serious and wanting to build a relationship. Your focus can't be on the weakness. Your C's, your B's, these are weak entities in your database. Don't spend your time focused on weaknesses. Spend your time developing strengths. If you do that, that's where the money's going to be. Okay? But then we talk about messaging. After our first one, oh shoot, I got to figure out what to call next. I can't say shame on me again. What do I do next time? This is where you'll have to get...
Shame on you.
Yeah, shame on you, Scott. All right? You didn't call me in the last month. Okay, so the next message might be interactive. And what I mean by interactive, and Bruce did this, set up some sort of event. And it could be, what I really like is local food shelves, local food drives, where you can say, hey, Bruce, I'll tell you what, I know I talked to you a month ago. Everything good with you? Great, perfect. Kids are still alive. Awesome. So what we're going to do is this month, I'm partnering with the Coon Rapids Food Shelf. We're collecting food. Can I swing by? What day works for you guys? Swing by and maybe grab a couple non-perishables from you. What am I getting now? Face to face. Are we going to talk about stuff? Or are we going to go over, maybe Bruce is a big football fan. It's August, football starting. We might have a good conversation about that. But in reality, I have an interactive reason to call now. I'm going to call because I want to come see you. I've got a reason to call. Okay? So the messaging will change based on what's going on. And perhaps that's the event of the month. I'm going to stop by and pick this up. Maybe the next month you're doing a past client appreciation event. So you're going to call to invite them, hey, you know what, we just rented out this park. We got a bouncy house, thanks to Colleen. We've got this, and that, but bring your family, bring your friends. We're having a big celebration. Can I count you in? You always have to have a reason to call. Or maybe you call in the fall to say, hey, I'm just doing a call to everybody I know. It's fall. This is the time that people tend to have more dryer fires. Have you checked your lint trap? And what's that on the outside of the house? I'm losing my train of thought here. But you have to empty out the actual lint exhaust. Yep. Have you checked that? Because if you don't, people can enter the fires in their house. No, I never checked that. Well, go ahead and check it. And you know what they do? They go outside and go, holy crap, it's full. Thanks for calling me. So you have to have different messaging. What gets really easy in December for messaging? Holidays. How about November? Thanksgiving, right? What about their birthday? Easy for messaging. How about their anniversary if they're married? Easy for messaging.
What anniversary of the home that they bought?
Anniversary of the home they bought. Easy for messaging. My point is, and even if they're not a past client, even if they're hopefully like a professional network or somebody else you haven't really sold to or with, you can still craft messaging on other personal things. And where is an awesome, awesome avenue? What's the vehicle to find out what's going on in their life? Facebook. Shoot, Scott, hey, I just saw that you announced that you're having another baby. Wow, hey, congratulations. If I comment in on that on Facebook, does that go with 50,000 other comments?
My wife's not going to be happy about that.
Probably not. So that's the reality, though, right? Look for reasons to take Facebook offline. That'll help you craft your messaging. Bruce, I see you were just down in Florida for the winter. How awesome is that? Tell me about it. I've always wanted to do that in winter in Florida. Whatever the messaging is, you'll find it. You'll data mine that throughout your own social media account. But Does that sound intentional to you? Does that sound like you better sit down and actually sift through things, find things, develop an actual system to mine the data so you have a reason to call? That's your working on your business time. Most people with their spear are going to call maybe twice a year, have a forced and awkward conversation, and at the end of the conversation say, do you know anybody that's looking to buy or sell a home? And that's why they don't want to call their spear. They think that's how it's supposed to be done. If you are truly trying to build a relationship, you will never ask anybody for business, and you will never have to. They know what you do. They'll ask you about it. How's work? How's real estate? And what's your answer?
Awesome.
Fantastic. Unbelievable. Love it. Do you have to go into how many houses you sold and what your average sale price is and the brag board? No, you don't. I love it. It's absolutely great. I tell you the reason I love it, Scott, is because I get to help so many families find their dream home. It's like my perfect job. It's what I've always wanted to do. Thanks for asking. Always thanks for asking. Okay? Anything else on that before we move on?
No, I think that's perfect advice.
Good. Good. All right. Now, with your sphere of influence, we can also do, like I said, we can drip on them a little bit. But what I used to do, I spent $99 a year, not a month, a year in self-promotion. That's all I ever did because I worked only really with my sphere of influence. So $99 a year for a newsletter I would send out once a month. And I didn't know what was in the newsletter. People would get it and say, that was a great article this month. You know what I'd say to them? What was it? I don't even know. I don't read that thing. Glad you read it, but I don't know what's in there. And they kind of laugh, and I go, I'll just send that out there so people know I'm still alive. But I would call everybody in my sphere. My thing was I'd take 2 Sundays out of the month. Most of it was done on one Sunday. Sometimes I get it done on one, and I would just plow through my list. And most of the time you get voicemails, I'll leave a voicemail. But people want to know, hey, you're still thinking of me. That was all I did. It's that easy. We have all these high-end CRMs and lead management tools and all this technology and software to help us do this. The old days, we used to do this off of flipping Rolodex. We really did. Oh, yep, I haven't called Eric for a while. And we call him. It's not that difficult. You can do it off a yellow notepad and a Rolodex. You can do it off an Excel sheet. It doesn't need to be fancy. It needs to be consistent. That's what it needs to be. Okay, that being said, what type of information or messaging are you guys struggling with? Why haven't you called your spear? Why haven't you done this consistently? What is it about it that keeps you from doing it? I'd love to hear your answers on this.
I'll be honest, it's my first year, and my first 2 friends that I did help, that statement you made about friends and family are the worst to work for.
You had 2 dumpster fires right off the bat, and I remember that.
I had 2 dumpster fires, and I just don't want to concentrate on my sphere. I honestly just feel like I need another year of lead generation where people don't know me.
Okay, so here.
Like that honesty?
I love it, and I'll tell you why. I don't agree with it, but I love the fact you're honest. And the reason I don't agree with it is you're taking the choice out of their hands of wanting to work with you. You're saying that, I don't feel like I have a value enough yet to really help you, and therefore I don't want to be embarrassed and do the wrong thing. I'd have more confidence in myself right now if I were you. You just got bit by a dog in places I won't even mention, and you like a trooper, moved forward and got the deal done. So that right there, I'm telling you.
Snakes too, and I thought it was you.
Oh,
Yeah.
no. Casey can keep the snakes.
Right. Well, next time, if you see like a large panther in a cage in a backyard, it's probably going to be on one of her showings, I know. But the reality is, guys, is that's perfect. And that's why people tend to not want to work with their spirit. They're afraid of something going wrong and damaging the relationship. That is hands down why people avoid it. They don't want to.
Both of mine really, we're still friends.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it took a couple months for me to
Look,
talk to her.
this is a job, guys. And I want you to explain this to yourself as well as your buyers. I can't prevent problems for you. This is what you got to be able to say and understand. I cannot prevent problems for you. We have a buyer and a seller. We have myself and another agent. We have a lender, a loan officer. We've got a underwriter. We have a processor, an appraiser, multiple title people. We have a home inspector. Somewhere along the line, somebody's going to present a problem. I can't keep that from you. But what I can do is I can go to bat to solve those problems. My job isn't to prevent them. It's to get you through them. So when things happen, don't freak out. I got this. That's your message. And you can work with your sphere of influence very well that way if they understand this will be a bumpy ride. This is a complex situation. You are buying a house. You are not buying a four-wheeler. There is a difference.
But in that statement, there's a great amount of value.
There
What
is.
we're trying to do every day is create value in our services.
And yet we also think that we're supposed to be flawless, that we're supposed to have a buyer move through this without even blinking an eye. And what value do we have if they think it's that easy?
Yeah.
They should see that it's hard. They should see that what we struggle with or we have to go through on their behalf is not easy. If they think it's easy, they go, well, I can do this on my own. They can't. That's why we're needed. But we need to be able to articulate why we're needed. This is difficult. We're going to get hit. You're going to get punched in the face from the side by the time this transaction is over from 3 different angles and go, is this the way it's supposed to be? Yes, it is. We got this. We'll get through it. Okay? So the answer is yes. People avoid their sphere of influence because they're afraid of damaging a relationship. But that's up here in you. You've got to get to the point that you can say, this is going to be rough. I'm going to get you through it. And, that's what I do. And at the end of the day, we'll still be friends. We'll still be family. You're going to be in your house, and we'll know that we both got you there. It's a team. Okay. Yes?
I was just going to say, for me, almost all of my business comes from sphere of influence.
Good.
Whether it's professional network or whatever.
Yep.
I think my fallback or my area to focus on is like the ones that you said where you like you talk to somebody and you're like, oh, they just, somebody's system.
So the question is,
whatever, so I'm not getting to all of them.
right.
often.
And that's the question is, why haven't you built in the consistent practice? Do you know the answer to that question?
They don't have a plan.
Right. But if I told you right now, here's a 4-hour-a-day part-time job. It will net you $250,000 a year. And I signed a guarantee on that. Would you go do that 4 hours worth of work? You would. The reason you won't do it with your sphere of influence, and that's the exact same thing I'm talking about right now, is because you don't have the faith that your efforts are going to produce the result. For whatever reason, those people in the spirit, you don't feel confident with them. Otherwise, you would have a system because it is money that's being fallen all over the floor right now. And did anybody get in this career so they can sleep late and not make money and they just don't want to be accountable to somebody? Or do they get in the career because you actually want to build a career? Want to push yourselves, want to do better than what you did before the career? Better lifestyle, better retirement. Was this why you're in the industry, or is it simply because I don't want to work for somebody else? That's an honest statement, by the way, because some people do feel that way. They only want to make 40 grand a year in real estate and mess around all day and not have to be accountable. If that's you, that's fine. You need to be honest about that. But if you really are trying to build a solid career and you're looking at your sphere of influence and saying, I don't have a plan, I think the reason you don't have a plan is probably more up here, like Colleen, for a different reason, though. There's people in there you just haven't connected well with or don't know how to, and you've got to get past that. You've got to get past that and let them make the choice, not you. But let them make the choice whether they want to engage. If you don't give them the option, they won't make the choice. So stay with them. Anybody else? Any other reasons why they're struggling?
Not pass enough other things off to other team members.
Lack of delegation. So Bruce does like to take on the world himself all the time. We've had these talks. No, but and you're right, because if you don't delegate, you're never going to have enough time to do stuff. Now, when we talk about working on your business and working in your business, does sitting around doing paperwork sound like a high-dollar productive activity? Does forming MLS searches sound like a high-dollar productive activity? Does even literally sitting around tracking earnest monies and signatures and initials, even though that's your transaction you're being paid for, is that a high-dollar productive activity? No, that's $15 an hour work, and there's nothing wrong with $15 an hour work. People work for $15 an hour all the time. You didn't get in this industry to work for $15 an hour. You got in this to work for $150 an hour. That's what this is. And those $150 activities, you know what they are? Face-to-face. People are the highest ROI you have, not tasks. So to Bruce's point, spending time on things you're not delegating correctly is going to kill your income earning potential. Especially for the new agents that can't afford to go out and hire an assistant right now, that's fine. That's okay, because you've got more time than money when you first start. But as you develop and you get busy, you got to put together plans very early on how do you leverage other people to help you so you can remain in that $150 an hour zone. Make sense? All right. Yes.
So let's say you're just starting.
Yep.
And a lot of people already have agents that, you know, they
Yes.
worked with previously.
Yep.
Do you still engage with your sphere?
Absolutely.
Or do you not?
Absolutely. Because you're not trying to get their business, you're trying to build a relationship. And here's what tends to happen. Well, Scott sold me a house. I mean, he's my agent. He's my guy. And you come along and you start courting me in a relationship. And you start, you know, paying attention to me. And you start really focusing on me. I'm pretty soon I go, how come my own agent isn't doing this? I mean, Selena's inviting me to these things. I'm doing these food drives, you know. She invited me to her past client event. I'm not even a past client. She's checking in on me. She's calling me for my happy birthday. Where's Scott? You can put doubt in people's heads pretty easily by just doing the right actions. Yep. Guys, you have to ask yourself this question. With hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, actually seven-figure money in your sphere of influence right now, why haven't you unlocked it? Think about that. If you had faith right now, if I signed a contract with you, $1 million a year, if you did these 4 hours a day of activity, you'd be jumping up and down going, I get $1 million guaranteed. The reason you don't do it is you don't have the certainty, the faith that that would work. Well, the Michael Mars of the industry, the Michael Hellicksons of the industry, they know it because they've done it. They put theory to rest and put action to work. And they're doing it. So, that being said, you don't need a perfect plan. A good plan today is better than the perfect plan tomorrow. You just got to get out there and start doing it. Okay? All right, sphere of influence. Anything else before we move on from this topic?
You had talked about even using a yellow pad or spreadsheet,
Yeah.
which I do the spreadsheet, but I don't want the group, especially the new ones, to lose the fact that they have to have a database
Yep.
set up. And
Yeah. And you're right, because the database here, I think people get overwhelmed by Commissions Inc. or other platforms, the Top Producer, whatever. People get overwhelmed by trying to figure out how to manage that, which I think is a counterproductive thing, because not only do they have reservations about engaging with their sphere, but now they've got other reservations about this complex machine they don't know how to use. So I think you need to do what works for you to get something going, and over time, keep learning to use the database. You can use Excel for now, but as you learn the database and how to use it, migrate over. You just can't wait to have everything figured out before you start doing it. That's really what I guess I'm saying.
jump in and learn from
You got to swim, man. You got to jump in and swim. If you think I use a term because I go to the gym. I used to see people do this. I'm not going to the gym till I get in shape. Run that by me one more time. Yep, I'm not going to the gym till I get in shape. And I go, how are we going to get in shape? I don't know that yet, but we'll figure that out. Okay. See you next year with the same conversation. You just got to jump in and start swimming. Really, you do. Okay, so next thing to talk about. If our sphere of influence really truly is the biggest bucket, and it is, and we got hesitancy. We've got people saying, well, my friends and family, I don't really know if I want to go that route, or I'm only connected with a certain portion, and when I'm going to guess, probably the portion you've connected with is probably the ones you have the easiest time connecting with. Or everybody would be in there, because it's going to take more work for the other ones. Now, keep in mind, there's B's and C's in there too. There's people that will never really engage, and you can kind of, over time, 6 months of trial, if they don't engage, get them out of there. Find new ones. The beauty of the sphere of influence is it's always evolving. You're always finding new people to put into it, because your KPIs, your key performance indicators, your accountability measures you need to put in place every week is meeting new people. What you do is you add 5 in, and you get rid of 1. You don't want more than 150 people in there, but you want to keep replacing the quality of the people in there over time. If you do that, hire 5, fire 1. Addition by subtraction.
Do your lead gens, do they go into that same?
They will go into a sphere of influence the minute we actually have a relationship. The minute it's beyond, yes?
Oh, finish your thought.
Nope, so that's really it. The minute it's beyond lead gen, and now it's actually, hey, these people are either a past client now or an active client, or we've got some relationship tied better than just a lead, then yeah, we can throw them in.
If you're showing them houses, you're working with them.
Yeah, you're having happy hours with them after the showings. I mean, things are going well. Throw them in. Absolutely. Yep.
I think I'm struggling talking to my sphere of influence just because I'm so young.
Ah!
And so I feel like people are going to...
Stand up. Here, Elijah, stand up.
Elijah,
Get up
prove
here.
you wrong there.
Get up there. You guys have the same issue, and by the way, you can sit now. By the way, I had that issue. I started when I was 21 years
That's what I
old.
was gonna ask, because I feel like I don't want to reach out to them because I feel like they obviously know I'm a new agent because they know me.
Who's making the choice for them?
Me.
Yeah. Let them choose. And you know what? You'll find people that want to help you, and you're taking the choice out of their hands. Don't do that. I will tell you this, when I started out, I had nothing but tribal sales. It was all first-time home buyers. That was my niche. It was only for the people that were most like me. People I worked out with the gym. I worked bar security at the time, which is not super cool, but I actually worked with a lot of people from the bar. The Mermaid. Anybody remember that place? Oh, yeah.
Still there.
Yeah, well, no,
A lot
I
of
was...
security going on there.
Yeah, there was a lot of security. I was a downstairs.
So that was
Yeah,
pretty dark and-
it was rough. Yeah. So anyway, that was where I got a lot of business out of. I got it from the gym, from there, from people I went to high school with, because I graduated from White Bear. I still lived in White Bear. I was meeting people there. So by actively going out and engaging with people that were most like me is where I found my revenue. Now I sold no more than 9 or 10 houses my first year. By year 2 and 3, I was at 18, 19 homes, but it was all the people that were most like me, and I was your age. So 19 transactions, that's $100,000 a year at your age, and that was a dumb thing for somebody, a young guy making $100,000 a year. Tell me how fast that money was gone. Just out as fast as coming in for like the first 5 years of my career. Didn't save a dime.
You're still smiling about it.
Oh, it was funny. Trust me, I don't regret it. I had a lot of fun. But the reality is, guys, is you have to understand that that you can't take the choice out of your sphere of influence's hand. You have to engage them and let them decide that you are worth it. If you don't think you're worth it, they're not going to think you're worth it. That's the reality. And that goes for any age group, by the way. Okay? So, it comes down to a confidence issue. I don't have faith that this is going to produce anything, and that's why we don't. If you search the opportunity out and let them decide, you will find there's going to be a percentage. It might be 10%, 20, 30, or 40% of the people you talk to that you thought never would engage with you. They go, hey, that was really nice. Scott called me, and shoot, that was really cool. He's not asking for nothing. He's just checking in on me. That's a little weird. I haven't heard from Scott in a year, but hey, that's cool. Give them the choice and give them the opportunity. And by the way, when you do that and you make 100 calls, you're going to find someone who goes, I'm thinking of moving this year. Well, there we go. That's all I need is one. And that means it's a productive session of phone calls. I had Dan Balzer in this room. He was struggling to keep up with his spirit. I had given him one assignment. One. I want you to call 5 people from your sphere of influence a day. Not an hour, not 2 hours, 5 phone calls a day. If they don't answer, leave a voicemail. Start there. Day one, on his 4th phone call, he got a listing. That's all it took. And this is right after, by the way, I think he was at some state fair or some get-together or something like that, some public event. And a buyer that he worked with 6 months ago comes up to him, runs up, hugs him, and goes, Dan, it's been forever. How you doing? I love the house, yada, yada, yada. Oh, by the way, this is my friend. She's buying a house now, too. And he looked and went, oh, my God, if I didn't run into you, this never would have happened. So I think he did sell that woman a house. But the reality was, had he not run into her, it never would have transpired. So then I give him the KPI, 5 phone calls a day. Boom, day 1, he nails a listing. Never would have done it because he, just like you guys, feel uncomfortable with calling because he feels like a salesman. I don't know what to say. I don't want to be trying to ask for things from my spirit. Don't ask. Talk to them without an agenda. Somewhere along the line, they're going to circle back. Somebody's going to circle back to talk about you too. And they're going to ask you, how's real estate? Well, I love it. I found my place in the world. Yeah, I'm new, but it's such a great industry. I get to help people. And watching people close on the house that's their dream home and what that does for them and their family, I'm hooked. Love it. Hey, by the way, thanks for asking.
Don't understand this new computer yet.
Yeah, all right.
Why am I not taking our class? Oh, wait, it is
Yeah,
live, isn't it?
exactly. So we got,
I forgot about
yeah, the day that,
Actually, you can't hear
yeah,
that on the live.
this is the day that Buyer's Agent Bootcamp just said, hold my beer, right there. Okay, so anyway, that's going to wrap up today. That's going to be about as deep as we go in today with Spirit of Influence. So when it comes to content, when it comes to what to send, get a newsletter, do direct mail. Really, guys, here's the last tip, 10-10-10 rule. 10 minutes in the morning, 10 in the afternoon, 10 at night of social media. Do nothing but comment, talk to, and message people throughout your sphere. Nothing to do with business. 10, 10, 10, and find ways to take that conversation offline. If the birthday, a life event, something cool, call them, say, this stuff is on Facebook, super cool. You do that alone, and the business in this room just picked up by about 100%.
You know, I was managing the Denny's over here about 4 years ago, and I was trying to help a new cook, and he was talking about his dad passed away, unfortunately, and he was like, I need to